They sling the dirt, and at times at each other. It's Stremme and Stremme on Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tire. Here are David and Ashley.
Hello and welcome. It is Tuesday again, so it's time for another episode of Slingin Dirt. That's right here with the Stremmes. We have a good show for you today. We have Tommy Weder Jr. He picks up the 18th annual Fall Jamboree. It's been 8 years since he's picked up a U.S. MTS race, but we'll talk to him. He's been racing late models and stuff too.
And that was the car Bloomer runs second in.
Yes,
at Mississippi
that's correct.
Thunder.
Mm-hmm. And up next, we have Earl Pearson Jr. His season has took a turn for the better, finally. Good to see him running up front. He picks up the win at the World 100, a prelim win at the World 100. And last but certainly not least, we have Steve Francis. He had the Jackson 100 quick time. Just want to chat with him about things and see how he's healed up ever since he got hit in the head with whatever it was. And destroyed his helmet and had his concussion and whatnot. But
how about so speaking of when Tommy Weder won in the car Scott runs second in at Mississippi Thunder.
Yes.
And Ricky Thornton runs second in the car that won the Mississippi Thunder with was Gustin, which it was announced yesterday that Gressel Racing is going to replace or him and Ryan Gustin have split, and RC Whitwell's in the car. So it was kind of surprising. I didn't even really know there was much going on because that Blue 19's always had the Grim Reaper, of Ryan Gustin, but it's going to be interesting. So congrats to RC on getting that ride, and it was interesting. So
interesting.
It was.
That's it. I love it. Go ahead.
No, I just thought it's that time of year. I mean, there's late model stuff. I'm not going to get on here and spread rumors, but I know of stuff going on that
spread rumors
that
usually
is happening.
Enjoy doing that.
And it's interesting in dirt racing that you can go and drive for somebody. On the asphalt side, it's not so much that anymore. It's all about just how much money you have. And you see it a lot. You see, you take Steve Francis. He's run for a couple different guys this year. Mm-hmm. Earl does the same thing. It reminds me a lot, and I was talking to a friend of mine, asphalt racing in the late 70s, 80s, and through early 90s. You take this weekend, Chris Madden went up, picked up the cotton picking, I think it was 100 or something. Then he stops at East Alabama. And
races on his way home.
Yeah, he ends up picking another win. But it's like, that's what's great about dirt racing right now. If it rains out somewhere or you're racing somewhere, you're like, well, I'll just swing in here and you change some tires or maybe you just change a gear or whatever and you race. So not only from the racing side but from the driving side, and I think that's why it's successful. And you look at car counts, Mod Mania this weekend, phenomenal car counts of modifieds. Obviously, Mike Harrison picking up 2 out of the 3. Michael Long picked up the other night.
But 79 cars?
They averaged about high 70s every night. Pierce made it 3 in a row, and I haven't been able to find out. I need to find out, and maybe some fans can tweet us right now, but how Bob Sr. did in running his car.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I haven't...
The father-son race.
I haven't got a hold of anybody on that. But anyways, they had a great turnout. You had Deer Creek. They had modifieds up there. They had 100 and some mods there. Mount Pilliard, Indiana, had a 3,000 win show, had 80 cars show up. 80 cars. I mean, just out in the middle of nowhere in Indiana. It just shows how great it is right now. And
especially
I'm happy.
In the Midwest, it's really becoming...
Everything's like we've seen on Wing Nation, as Steve Post doesn't like to say, that it's coming to an end. So everybody's trying to get their last races in.
Yeah, it's the end of the season. That, or you have people who are so frustrated with how their season went, or their race cars are destroyed, or whatever it may be. So,
but the interesting thing is that I'm happy to say dirt racing's doing well. There's a lot of things that I think are great happening, a lot of things we can make better. Obviously, safety is one of them. But car counts are out this weekend. Obviously, the UMP Modified Nationals are at Eldora. We will be at. I'm really looking forward to going there. Weather's
if it
not
doesn't
looking
rain.
Yeah, weather's not looking great, but I believe Roger and his crew will do a great job. They've always seemed to work and have done well at it. So of getting a show in. But they'll probably have 140, 150 mods. It's about what they average every year. And it's great. So, again, It's really cool. So
It's just going to be cold, which I'm not excited about.
Listen, your cold is, you need to put some meat on your bones and we'll be all
whatever.
right. Anyways, hey, I want to tell you another interesting
What's
fact.
that? Tell me.
Okay, I had seen this. 20,000 to win shows. Okay, Scott Bloomquist has won 7 of them. All right, 15,000 to win shows, 9 of them. The guy's won almost $250,000 just in the big money shows. You take that's not 10,000s or anything else. Obviously, it doesn't come close to what Davenport and Rumley had done last year, but they'd won them crown races. But it's still amazing at the year he has. And I had a gentleman, a couple of gentlemen, they were talking. They're like, well, Rumley and them had done this, and they made all these rules up, and Bloomer's doing this. Listen, everybody, it's not when they're making rules or doing stuff, people are going to be dominant no matter what. And I'm not saying he's dominant. He's been beaten, but he has been very strong. And I think everybody else has been strong. You look at Darrell Lanigan this weekend, run very well at Brownstown. A little surprised at Don O'Neill, but Lanigan run very well. Obviously I thought Jared Landers was doing very exceptionally well, and then he's been on the sidelines. But my point is that he's having a great season. Obviously, it got probably overlooked by some of the other stuff that's happened at Eldora and some things, but it is amazing when you look at the dirt industry and a living that somebody can make compared to other motorsports. It's quite interesting.
And, you hit on it earlier about owners. You're starting to see that go away a little bit. There's not as many as there used to be in guys driving for them.
Why do you say that?
Well, maybe I'm talking more in the sprint car world.
Yeah. Well, this isn't Push Start Show, honey.
Sorry.
Because I was just like, wait a minute.
I like to talk about them occasionally.
That's fine. But, they did have the 4 Crown, and I was excited following that. But in the dirt late model world, it's like this weekend. I was just reading a tweet that Davenport's going to go and defend his, it's a Tar Heel Nationals at Tri-County. I think he's going to be, I'm not going to say, but I think he's running probably the Randy Weaver Motorsports car.
Sure, he's been in
So,
that
you look at guys will go run. We seen at the Fast Track Nationals, look how many higher guns they brought in. Moran, Ferguson. It's cool. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, also being cool, in my area auto racing news this morning.
No dinging on cool here.
No dings on cool for us.
There we go.
Oswego. We're a week away now. They talked about it in Area Auto Racing News, and what I thought was really cool is they're working on their grandstands. They're going to have 11,757 seats available for people to sit in. They had 813 camping sites, which sold out in 26 hours.
Did you get ours? You think we can go
we're
up
not
there?
going.
What? They said they put 20 inches. I seen the pictures of them putting dirt down. 20 inches of dirt in areas.
600 loads.
Wow.
Yes, and pretty impressive. I know what the one thing they were concerned about was making sure that the asphalt track didn't see any damage from it, so they put wood chips underneath the dirt, so there was a little bit of a cushion there between it.
You know what else I think? It'll help, and again, with technology, and you watch the dirt racing and what they've done, Boone has a lot of wood chips in it. And you look at the amount of laps they run there, and as we've had guests on, they've asked, hey, 300 laps, it holds moisture in, so maybe there's something to it.
And Gary Rich, he's the one who did Rock. Where'd they go?
What's his name?
Tell me. Gary Risch. R-I-S-C-H.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's he do?
He works for Super Dirt, or he works for World Racing Group, I should say.
He does all the dirt and...
Rockford. Thank you. You didn't even tell me that. I don't know why I'm saying thank you to you. But Rockford, they were out there.
I don't know what you're trying. I'm trying not to look at your notes.
Okay. Anyhow, you can watch. If you can't go to Super Dirt Week, it will be on MAV TV in November, so you can catch it there. Yes.
Is there any internet live feed?
I don't believe so, no. But anyhow, we have to go to break so we can talk to Tommy Weder Jr. up next here on Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tires on MRN.com.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
O'Reilly. Greasy grime on your vehicle could take hours to clean, but not with Super Clean. Right now at O'Reilly Auto Parts, buy one bottle of Super Clean all-wheel, multi-purpose, or foaming degreaser and get one free. Plus, earn double points during O Rewards Member Appreciation Month. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back to Slingin Dirt. We're the Stremmes. Joining us now on the Hercules Tire Hotline, it is Tommy Weder Jr. Welcome to the show, Tommy.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Congratulations on your big win. It was the 18th annual Fall Jamboree. Is this the biggest win of your career?
Yeah, it is. Like I said in my interview, I've won some other races that have paid the same money, but the prestige with the Fall Jamboree, especially the third night, that's a pretty special one to win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. I was excited to see. I mean, you beat some really, really strong guys, and then let alone, I was reading a little article that had interviewed you on, and you're like, who's this 9 coming up? And Thornton had started back, and then you realize who it was, but. How ironic to have the 2 cars that finished 1-2 in Mississippi Thunder run 1-2 just opposite of how they finished there.
Yeah, no, that was pretty ironic, I guess, to say the least. I think Mississippi Thunder was about 1 lap away from having the flip-flop in, but that's hindsight. But yeah, it was pretty neat to see that happen again.
Well, I know it's been 8 years since you've won a U.S. MTS race, but I know it's because you don't really run your modified as much. You're more in the late model side of things now.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, I haven't even owned a modified probably in the last 6 years, and we decided that I wanted to have at our shop to be able to do some of these special events. In the past, mainly I've raced Jason Hughes' other car, and been pretty successful in it, but we just thought that it was time to go ahead and get another one. It seems that the USRA, USMTS style of rules is starting to get a few more bigger races out there, so we felt like it was worth our while to have one.
Is there anything that that you can really take from running a late model and modified, or is it just more of, hey, I'm gonna go, we're gonna be around the whole festivities at Deer Creek and everything else, or was it something that you go, man, I can really learn something here, maybe take it back to your late model?
Not really. To me, and people might disagree with me, but to me the 2 cars drive so much different, and a lot of people, and myself included, before I ever got to drive a late model, I thought, man, those big tires, those things got to be easier to drive, and
mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it's just the complete opposite. A late model, it seems like you have to be up on the wheel every single lap. There's no really taking a break. And, there's some technology stuff that we kind of put on the modified that I think for sure helped us out a little bit this past weekend, and Scott the weekend before that. And hopefully we can keep that stuff rolling and, be ahead of everybody for a little bit, and hopefully kick off a few more here towards the end of the year.
Mm-hmm. You talked about, modifieds getting bigger paying races. Is that ultimately why you started going towards the late model side, is just because the payouts were larger?
Well, yes and no. I mean, I never really thought that I would get to travel around the late model side like I did the modified stuff early in my career. With business, my dad and I own a company that employs about 80 people, so we stay pretty busy with that. I wanted to try something a little different, and some of the late model stuff was paying a little more to win, not a bunch more. That was about the same amount of drive from home for me, being in northwestern Oklahoma, there's not really any close racetracks that pay much. So we have to travel either way. And I just kind of wanted to try something a little different.
Well, I know that it's been interesting. I followed you a little bit on your late model stuff at the I think it was the Show Me. You've had some really good runs in a late model. What are some of the other tracks that you're going to maybe try to venture out to, or you're able to, or if you're not able to, what would you like to go and race at?
Well, naturally everybody kind of says the same thing. I've never been to Eldora. I would for sure like to go up there. And kind of the rest of this year, I think we're probably going to make it to Kansas City for the Grant Young Hands Memorial Race this weekend. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the year, I'm probably not going to run my late model anymore. And I think Wichita 81 Speedway in Wichita, Kansas has a 10,000 to win mod race, and that's 3 hours from where I live. So we'll definitely make that one. And we're kicking around going to Las Cruces, New Mexico to finish out the year.
Oh, okay. You talked about work. I'm dying to know what it is that you and your dad do.
We actually own a oil field service company. Long story short, we drill holes in the ground.
That's not a bad thing. That's not a bad thing.
Well, naturally the oil prices are pretty low for our liking right now, but the rest of the country seems to be happy with it, so that's okay.
Yeah, that's what that's what a lot of really in Oklahoma.
I think that's all there is.
Yeah, I mean, they have tornadoes, they blow everything out of the way, and you go drill holes and then move the rig again. So, no, I just crack jokes about that because I think we have a mutual friend, Ramirez Leon, who was a super great guy. But I got to know him and some of the other people in the oil industry, and there's a lot of people in that area that race and then that are in the oil industry.
Yeah, there is. There's Woodward, our little community right here. We've got a lot of racers that's come out of here, modified mainly, Leon, of course, and then Brian Rowland. Right. He's ran a team or has ran a team for several years, and a lot of people from this area.
I'm hoping
like dirt track racing.
I hope you get Brian back in the car a little more. I mean, he's. I watched him run a late mile one time at Volusia, and I was like, it was more exciting because of trying to watch him go straight, and he wasn't afraid to mash a loud pedal. I was like, do you really realize what you're doing out there? He's like, oh man, I'm just digging on it, and I'll learn. I'm like, you could end up in them trees. So, but it is always fun to watch him and be around him. He's a pretty good time.
Yeah, those guys are a good time.
What's one of the things when you talk about the rules of USRA and USMTS? Do you think it's because really all the dirt racing trying to combine a little more? I mean, you even seen like earlier this year some of the WISSOTA cars running some of the USMTS races. Are they trying to do that so as they travel they can collect more cars?
I think so. That race, what was that? That race in Fergus Falls, Minnesota, where they let some of those WISSOTA guys. And actually, it's Stormy Scott won that race. And to be honest, he just outsmarted all of us guys. They allowed a crate motor with a big blade and a little bit softer tire, and he looked into the rules a little harder than us. I just think, I would like to see as far as even what y'all race out there, the UMP and the USRA, and everybody kind of get together and get a little more basic of a rules package. We got the late model stuff, and you have a crate deal, and you got an open motor deal, and really the only thing that's different in most of the classes is the tires. Yeah. And, we got the USRA, USMTS, the spec-headed deal with 8,000 chipped, and I'd kind of like to see them rethink that and open the motor deal back up a little bit and allow a little bigger of a chip. I think it's just getting it to where people can't travel and race different series as much,
Yeah. I think there's a lot in what you're saying. Again, a lot of this dirt is new to me, but what I've seen, it was probably a great idea when it started, the spec-headed motor in USMTS. But I know guys, they're spending, $10,000, $12,000 more than what I spend in an open motor. Yes. The tires dictate everything, and I'm with you on. I don't mind buying tires, putting on a car to go somewhere, but when there's motors, there's too many rules almost. The tire dictates everything. If you like when we run a UMP show to a AMRA show, or even like a with soda, it's not much difference across the board. But when you do, I've seen in the USMTS, there's sobbing. All of a sudden, he'll have a 525. You got other guys, and there's so many options. It's kind of hard to pick from, to tell you the truth.
It's very hard, and you get a spoiler brake, or you get a bigger blade, or you get a weight brake with this engine. It's just a little confusing, and then the chip rule, and I get where the chip rule may be a good thing, and I don't really care for it at all. I mean, shoot, a lot of these times 8,000 RPM chip would lug in our motors a lot more, and I think it's a lot harder on them than turning them 84, 8,500.
Yeah.
But,
it's funny.
I would just like to see the guys, the series, try to get together and give a little better rules across the board, because there's been times in my career I would have really liked to have gone into UMP country a little bit and raced some more, but the motor package and everything we had that we're set up for, the races we raced, really wouldn't have been that competitive.
And it's interesting when you do look at late models. Across the board, pretty much it's the same except for maybe a tire,
Yep.
And tires are consumable items, so it's like, hey, whatever, you buy a set of tires, you put them on there, but it would be nice in the modifieds. And I think you see over the years, one of the reasons I love the modified, it's me, my wife, and my buddy go. It's economically, for the most part, easy on your wallet, and you can have fun, I mean, heck, if I knock the fence down, I can keep going, and
right.
A late model, late model, and things are pretty precise, but and hopefully, like you said earlier, the modifieds, they're getting more attention, so hopefully that could happen across the board, and it would be nice.
Yes, it would. Yeah, for sure.
I want to ask about your number, because it transfers from your modified to your late model. What's the story behind the 02?
Well, growing up, my dad raced, and he just had a number 2. And when I started,
I think we lost you.
Tommy,
can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Anyhow, my dad raced when I was growing up, and he was the number 2. And for the first year or so when I raced, I ran the number 2 as well. And then I decided, it'd be nice to have something a little different, just to be able to tell the cars apart a little better. So I just put a 0 in front of the 2, and it's stuck with me ever since.
How much is your dad involved with your program?
Oh, quite a bit. He doesn't get to travel around with us as much as he wants, but he's very involved in it. Go ahead.
Does he race anymore?
No. He bought him a car, I think, 2 or 3 years ago now, and went to the local track here close to home and ran it a few times and decided that he was getting a little too old for it and just going to continue to watch and own stuff. So.
I love it.
Well,
great. Best of luck at the Deuces Wild and the Youngham Memorial this weekend.
Yes.
We wish you the best of luck, and thanks for being on the show today.
Hey, I appreciate it, guys.
Absolutely.
Y'all for having me.
Thanks,
Tommy.
Goodbye.
It was cool to see him. Nothing against, Hughes or any of the other guys who run USMTS, but to see somebody different win.
Well, and Hughes and Sanders, they went through some mechanical difficulties. They both had to take provisionals.
Yeah.
I believe they started 31st and 32nd and ended up 8th and 9th, respectively. Yeah. So they put on a whale of a show still.
And speaking of Jason Hughes, he swept all of the USMTS championships. It's pretty cool.
That's because I think he lost, maybe 2 races?
He was, he won 10 points over, I'm trying to think of his name right now.
Cade? No.
Yes.
Cade Dillard?
Cade Dillard. But it was really strong, the USMTS series this year. You've seen how many quality teams and drivers were there. And you've seen guys, they run the late models, they come back. And I don't care. If you're racing and you're doing stuff, it helps you. So, but anyways, it was really congratulations, Jason, on his championship.
Yeah, phenomenal year he had,
So.
for sure. We will talk to Earl Pearson
Easy.
Jr. Earl Pearson Jr. up next here on Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tires on MRN.com.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, Your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
The NHRA season is heating up, and MotorRacingNetwork.com keeps the nitro burning every Thursday afternoon at 12 Eastern.
Tony Schumacher joins us.
Big moments are presented and big teams show up.
Join Marty Huff and Doug Herbert as they talk with the hottest NHRA drivers each week. Brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. It's The Straight Line, Thursdays at noon Eastern, only on the MotorRacingNetwork.com. This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back to Slingin Dirt. Joining us now, it is Earl Pearson Jr. Welcome back to the show, Earl.
Hey, guys. How you guys doing?
We are doing well. How about yourself?
Oh, I can't complain. Back at home here. I've been on the road for 2 weeks, but back home here in Jacksonville and enjoying the sunshine right now.
It is probably warm down there compared to what the rest of the country's going through.
Yeah. No doubt.
You have had some really good runs lately. What is some of the things, I mean, I hate to say what's turned around the team. You've had some luck, I should say. But has there really been anything that you can point out?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, we switched back to Longhorn chassis mid-part of the season. I should say a month or two after Speed Weeks. But we've been working with a couple of different people, along with all the guys at Longhorn Chassis, and the biggest thing I think we found is just getting ourselves a baseline that we can go from, track to track to track, and just got something to work with at the beginning of the night, I should say. We've been qualifying pretty good and running good in the heat races, and you're a racer as yourself. If you don't run good in the heat race and get yourself in position for the feature, this day and time with the competition, it's so tough to start way back in the field and drive up to the top three or even win the race. So
yeah,
I think that's the biggest thing. And, Carlton and Kemp, the owners of Dunn Benson Motorsports, they've given us everything we need as far as, cars and, tires or whatever else we may need. But, and they're very good owners. They understand that, we're not going to win every race. We would like to, but we can't. But it's a building process, and we got good guys on the crew, John, Chan, and Chris, and Mac there at the shop, and all the people at Dunn Benson Ford. And but the biggest thing is traveling up and down the road like we do. I think our turning point has been just a baseline setup, and along with working with some other drivers that's in Longhorn Chassis. So I think that's our biggest thing we've done.
I was going to say, I don't think fans realize how hard it is. You're on a traveling series, and really probably based in North Carolina is hard for running the Lucas Oil Tour. I'm not saying it's probably the best location, not the worst, but you don't have a home track. So it's always hard to come up with a setup. You go from one place, maybe in the Midwest, certain type of dirt, to down south, Isn't that pretty difficult, being able to find that balance?
Well, it is. And like yourself, I know you travel around with a modified deal, and people don't realize out in the Midwest, the dirt is so much different than what it is in South Carolina or North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Out there it gets super slick, and in the Carolinas or on the East Coast, you always got a little bit of grip left in the racetrack at the end of the night or that night. But like you say, living in the shop out in North Carolina, the guys got to stay on the road quite a bit, and we've just this past month, I think ever since the week before Eldora, the guys been on the road, so it makes it tough. When you live in a truck like that, don't get me wrong, it's beautiful outside and inside, but when you got 3 or 4 guys living in it,
yeah,
a month at a time, it makes it tough. But that's one good thing we do have. We have some guys there that can work together and be around each other. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure you know you get a couple flare-ups every now and then, but the next day everything's fine. But it's tough, ain't no doubt. The competition this day and time is unbelievable. I was just listening to you talk about USMTS. I mean, even on that level, I mean, it's just crazy, the competition, that the people that go out and do everything possible to win each and every night. And the sport right now is moving so fast with technology that it's hard to keep up. But, you know, and the engineers are getting involved, and the shop people, and the tires are a little bit better, and the cars are getting faster, and there's no telling where we're headed next year, but it's tough out there.
Yeah, and it's something that to me, dirt racing's striving so good right now that it's attracting a lot of great people. And we talk about Dunn Benson Ford. They had a little area, I guess, of absence, and they've come back. They have a really cool shop over in Dunn, North Carolina. Obviously, this Thursday is the makeup race at Fayetteville Speedway for the Lucas Oil Tour. Are they having Kemnam having another open house or a party? Or I know they have an autograph session normally at the dealership. Is there anything going on Wednesday?
Not that I know of. You know, the biggest thing is well, I mean, they had that one open house, but I don't think they're having anything this week that I know of. You know, I'm sure I'll be around, and a couple. I don't know if any of the other teams are coming by because, you know, everybody's been on the road so much. I'm sure everybody just goes straight to the racetrack and leave from there and go down to Dixie and Rome Saturday and Sunday. So, but, I mean, yeah, it's a beautiful place, beautiful shop. You know, the dealership there, I mean, they just kind of remodeled that place this year. It's a beautiful place to be. And, you know, Dunn, when I first started with them guys, you know, it was somewhat of a smaller town, but this day and time it's grown up so big, and there's so many people come by the shop and the dealership and just talk about racing. And that's what Carlton and Kemp love. You know, Carlton's been in this sport for many, many years, and who knows how many different drivers. And when he gets to the racetrack, he just carries on and talks to everybody. He's a car salesman, but he's a racer as well.
I love it. You know, you talk about Carlton. He's a great, great man. You know, you drove for them for so many years, and then that number one, when you see it, you know exactly what it is, that red and blue Dunn Benson Ford number one. You know, they decided to take a break, and then they come back. Was there any issues with you gelling again, you know, with the time off from them? I'm sure there wasn't, but I'm just curious, you know, from your side of things, you know, just jumping back in that car.
Well, you know, when I went back to him and you know, Bobby, he was ready to get out and do other things, and everything kind of fell right into place. I went down and sat down with Carlton and Kemp, and you know, talked to them about the situation and just wanted to see if they was interested in getting back into the sport. And so we talked that day, and the next morning I get a phone call, and it's like, you know, nothing ever happened. Like, we never separated. I mean, everything just fell right into place. They was ready to go, and they started looking for haulers and race cars and everything else. So, yes, I mean, they got out of sport for a good little while. I don't know exactly how many years, you know, 4 or 5, whatever it was, but as soon as they got right back into it, it's just like, you know, like I say, nothing ever happened. They fell right into place, and, you know, they go to quite a few events with me. I know they're busy with their dealership, but anytime they get a chance, they go to the racetrack. And, you know, the first time they come back, it was just like, you know, everybody just comes over and wants to talk to them and shake their hand and glad to see them. They're back into the sport because, like you say, when that car rolls out of the trailer, everybody knows what it is. It's the Dunn Benson Ford number one car, and so many people enjoy coming around and talking to them guys. And Carlton's very easy to talk to, and you know, we had a long, long relationship with Lucas Oil and several other product sponsors and whatever it may be. So, you know, just to reunite the family, and that's one thing that Lucas and myself, Forrest Lucas and the family, and Carlton and Kemp and his family, it's a little bit more than just sponsorship or somebody owning a car that I drive. It's all about, somewhat of a family. So I enjoy that.
Mm-hmm. That's what I was wanting to ask about the Lucas Oil sponsorship, and not only what with your team, but the overall series and just everything in motorsports. How it is,
their TV deal that they're doing now is phenomenal.
The TV deal, how it represents, it just talk a little bit about that. It's just amazing at what's done there.
Well, when we first started with Forrest Lucas and Lucas Oil, it started out with myself as a product sponsor, and it's grown to what it is today. But this guy, I don't know how he does. I guess he lays in the bed and just dreams about things or whatever it may be. But you talk about the Lucas Oil Stadium, you talk about Lucas Oil Racing TV, and all the motorsports that this guy is involved with, from tractor pulling to motorcycles to off-road to the super late models to whatever it may be, drag racing. And he is a marketing genius, I guess you would call it.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy he loves dirt racing of any sort, and he's all about the grassroots. Where you come from and how you got started and all that kind of stuff. And when he comes to the track, don't get me wrong, he's so busy, I don't get to talk to him a bunch, but when he comes there, it's amazing how he tunes into the race and watch what goes on, and maybe, I don't know what he's thinking about, what he could do next to help the sport out or whatever it may be. But one good thing, and he's always said, don't get me wrong, he could fill his pockets up and just, sit there at his, wherever he may be and not worry about sponsoring people and doing what that nature. But this guy loves to give back to many, many people and gives us a place to race, gives us a TV package. And most of the times on NAV TV on Thursday nights, you can tune in to one of our races or off-road truck race or a modified race or whatever it may be. So there's, without him, I don't know where the sport would be.
Mm-hmm.
But he loves it. He loves being around, loves to talk to all the drivers and sponsors and whatever it may be. And, right now, a lot of people don't know it, but he's on some sort of Donald Trump committee. He's so busy with that right now with Protect the Harvest. And, I don't get to bother him right now or talk to him very much, but he's got so many things going. Such a busy guy, but he always has time to come to some of our races and hang out and have a good time.
Well, I hope.
Really
I know
cool.
I've been following a little bit, and you had hit upon it with the being on the Trump board or whatever. It's something that he's doing. I know. I'm just happy because I know what Forrest does and everybody else, and it'd be great to see him straighten up some of Washington, I would say. But anyways, hey, how about your? I don't want to get into all that.
I was waiting for the politics.
Hey, listen. We ain't going to talk about emails or anything else. So now, what I want to talk about is your boy racing. He's in a modified. I think your dad's been helping him. Talk a little bit about that and what he's been doing this year.
Well, we purchased a car from you guys, Lethal Chassis, and this is his first year ever racing a modified. He last couple of years he's been in a mini sprint, and matter of fact, he started in go-kart racing, then we got a mini sprint, now into the modifieds. But yeah, I have not seen him race, not the first time, which is, disappointing, but that's what we got to do. But anyway, my dad gets to go with him, my brother sometimes, and he gets to go to Brunswick, Georgia at Golden Isle Speedway. He races there the majority of the time.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to Lake City a little bit. He's been to Savannah and a couple different places here in Florida, but he's learning, and the good thing of it is, don't get me wrong, when I get back home, we go in the garage and we set it up or do whatever we may do. But in the long run, I think him doing all this stuff himself at the racetrack, along with my dad, will help him in the long run of learning how to set the car up or what it's doing at the racetrack, and the changes he does himself, I think will help him. But along with your help and a couple other people, he's been running good. He hasn't won a race yet, but he's usually finished in the top 3 or 5 at worst. if you don't have any trouble. So, DeLone Stanton, he builds a motor for us, and a lot of guys around here that I race for is helping him out. So it's a lot of fun. I just wish I could go more, but I got to do what I got to do, and hopefully he can follow my footsteps, and who knows, maybe one day he'll be in a Dunn Benson Ford car.
That'd be good.
Love it.
Well, I know he's safe there with your dad, and he's keeping him in line, so that's the main thing that we know.
Yeah, you can believe that.
Well, anyways.
Well, Earl, we appreciate you being on the show, and best of luck with the rest of the season.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. I met Earl's dad there at Golden Isles, and he was a hoot. I mean,
really?
You don't want to mess around with that man there. He's going to let you know what's going on, so I know he is keeping him in line. So.
You know where he's at all times.
Yep.
Absolutely. Love it. We are going to talk to Steve Francis coming up next here on Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tires on MRN.com.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
O'Reilly.
O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts is ending soon. You won't want to miss the store-wide savings and double-point deals on over 225 items. And if you're not already a member, sign up today during O-Rewards Member Appreciation Month. It's fast, easy, and free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back to Slingin Dirt. We're your hosts, the Stremmes. You can't believe what?
Just you.
Sorry, we had a good break this time. Joining us now, it is Steve Francis. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Glad to be here.
Perfect. How have you been, Steve?
We're recovered from all that deal where we got, hit with whatever come off the racetrack there. That kind of slowed us down for a month or 6 weeks, got us buried in points, and, kind of makes for a long year.
No doubt.
But this year's been a little different, building of a year,
Mm-hmm.
and it really seems like here lately, I mean, I've been watching, you're getting, the results have been very good. You set quick time there at Brownstown. It's really interesting, and obviously starting, I would say, a newer program. It takes a lot, and it doesn't happen overnight.
No, it's kind of a new old program. Tim and I were together back when I had my success there, when I won the World Outlaws Championship in 2007. And we've always kind of done a limited schedule with each other for probably the last 10 or 15 years, on and off and things like that. So, it was a little bit different going into everything, and probably the timing wasn't the best for it with the way the sport's changing and how fast everything and the technology is changing. It might not have been the perfect timing for it, but, it worked out good for us.
Unfortunately, though, I think with the technology, it's never going to, slow down or stop at this point. I think our technology is just going to keep outdoing itself every year.
You get that from your glass ball?
What's that?
You get that from your glass ball?
I did. That you gave me.
Okay, sure.
So she goes in the shop and watches you playing with all the stuff.
Exactly.
Steve.
Thank you. Oh, let's try this. Oh, how about
Steve,
this?
I'm going to ask you this, okay? You have a wife that's at the racetrack, and she's heavily involved. And let's just say you get out of the race car from the race, and you've been busting your balls the whole time driving.
To this.
Does she come up and really kind of lay into you saying, you should have done this or been running here? Or how is she?
The only time she ever does that's when I get one of them brain fart moments and let my aggravation get the best of me.
Yeah.
she'll give me that "what were you thinking" look, or say it. We've been together long enough now that I can pretty much just, if she gives me that look, I kind of know, well, I probably didn't do something right there.
Amanda, I love her to death. She's very laid back, and that's why I love her, because she just, like you said, what she's thinking without her having to say it, because she's just not the type of person to just blast it out there.
No, she's not going to do that. And she's like you guys, she grew up on the promoter side of the sport all of her life, so it kind of gave me, I know, Ashley, I know, your family always raced and everything. I know David always raced. So, but it gave me a different perspective, around her family when they were promoting racetracks and things like that. It makes it a whole different, as racers, we come in there and complain about the surface and this and that, and why didn't they do that?
Yep.
And then from that side of it, I get, well, why'd you guys racers, why'd you all want to do this? Or why did you all think that? Or, or this is why the racetrack was like that tonight. It's kind of, you don't realize how much goes into that. You think they show up there at noon on Saturday and start watering where, I know my father-in-law, he used to be there. He would leave Thursday night so it could be their first thing Friday morning to race on Saturday night, and that was just for a regular show.
Yeah.
And they're getting rich, of course. That's what all the racers think.
Rich. I've seen both sides of that. They think we're getting rich.
Exactly.
We think they're getting rich.
Yep.
And really, nobody's getting rich. We all do it because we love it.
It is. It's funny. You talk about the watering and everything, because that's the thing I've learned about dirt racing. Everybody is I don't know if the terminology be agricultural perfectionist or what, but they know how to go in there and grade a track or water. And I'm like, people ask me, I'm like, look, I don't know, they're doing a fine job, because I know they're doing way better than I am. Would be able to. But it is interesting as you travel and see stuff. What is probably, and I'm going to put you on point here a little bit, the best groomed, best working track, farming, I guess you'd say, is what they call it in the Midwest, of a racetrack that you've been to?
Hobstadt has to be the best at, Tom Helfrich's place. And I haven't even raced there in a few years. I just know it was the neatest thing ever. You'd be done running the heat races and turn around, there's 3 tractors out there and 2 water trucks, and 15 minutes later, you're going again.
Wow.
I've heard Boone, Iowa does a great thing with it. Knoxville, Knoxville, I was just, it's kind of a premier place. And I want to give Eldora a lot of credit this year. I've never seen that done, what they done on Saturday for the World 100. I mean, we raced Friday night in this place. Thursday night is wide open, fast as you can go.
Yep.
Friday, they get it slowed down, and it's about as perfect as you could ask. I had a nice little bit of a ring in the bottom, a little bit of a lip on the top. And Saturday, they don't touch it.
Yeah.
And might be one of the best for 3 days of racing that I've ever seen at Eldora.
That's
I don't know how that worked out or why it worked out that way.
Yeah.
But that's as good as I've seen it.
It is interesting. I think it's helped dirt racing, and you could help me with this. I think they're able to control and do things more with technology of maybe the dust, or like you're talking about the water. They know more of what's in the dirt or what it's needing to prep it to put on a great show.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. And I think, you've been through the NASCAR world. The faster you go, the narrower that lane gets and the harder it is to make a racetrack racing. And I think, if we didn't have the technology like you just talked about, I think all of our races would be kind of one-lane races because we're going so fast.
Yeah. Do you think that kind of opens up something else I want to ask you? And I love having Steve on the show, because there's a handful of guys I can have on here that could really, I think, the series sanctioned bodies everybody could listen to. But do you feel the cars would put on a better show if they slowed them down a little bit? Maybe take a little spoiler off, noses, tire, or something?
Yeah, I don't know what you're going to do with tire, because I'm afraid the more you put the tire, try to take the grooving, the stopping, the more you put the guy that knows how to maybe skirt right by on the edge of the tire prepping thing.
Yeah.
I think you make him even better. But yeah, I do think there's a lot of things you could do with the bodies on the cars. When Bob Memmer was alive, and I fought Bob almost every time I went to Eldora, you hated going through that tech line at the World 100.
Yeah.
But, you were 36-inch deck height. Don't be 36 and a half. He's going to throw you out. We had 50-inch noses. We had flat, the whole balance was flat. There's none of that now. These cars are so aero-dependent, and I know this is a bad word coming, especially, I keep going back to your NASCAR, but it seems like we're running 6-7 years behind you guys.
Yeah. Well, and I agree with you. I totally agree with you because when I got to run on the Cup side, they had these big blades and all this downforce. I'm like, it sucked when you got in traffic and just drive. Like now you seen on TV and everything, they've taken blades away, taken downforce. You got to drive them. And when I watch the late models, and I'll watch guys like there's times they're at the World, guys would get aero tight and doing stuff. I'm like, that sucks, And I feel it's still great because of the dirt. You have to drive and do things, but they and it's not just it's all the series. They want to come up with new rules, and it's like, wait, let's back up here a minute, just enforce what we have, and try to make the product.
That was
going to
be you brought up that point, and I think our rule book seems to get less I don't want to say less enforced, but it's like we pick out certain things. Okay, this is what we're really going to work on this year. We're going to crack down on this year. But we forgot about this back here that we're working on back here. We didn't, and we don't need to be NASCAR where it takes us 4 hours to go through tech.
Yeah.
But with so many people getting hurt this year, you got to start looking at the safety inspection part of the car as much as you do everything else.
Yep.
So we're putting a lot on the tech guys that it's hard for them guys to keep up with everything because you got one tech guy and 50 guys trying to figure out a way to beat him.
Yeah. I mean, and it goes back to again, we're not trying to be a tech guy here or make things better, but the safety is the biggest thing I see that across the board they could look at. There's been multiple places we go. They don't even look at my helmet, my seat, how it's mounted, or anything. But we want to put on a good show, and it doesn't matter what rule package they put out there. And I'll take your career. Over your span, you still run up front, and there's a reason why, because you put in the hard work. You're knowledgeable of the cars, and you see that with a lot of different guys. So, I mean, to me, we need to look at what's better, and that's why I enjoy talking to you about this. There's other guys the same way because you have an understanding and you see it, and you'd hit on.
I don't want to say been there and done it all, but I've seen the sport go from wedge cars.
Yep.
Where we were putting guys out of business because they couldn't afford the motors. Well, then we come up with a small body car.
Yep.
And our sport boomed because we had a set of rules that you could go race anywhere in the country with.
Yep.
And I could go to a World Outlaw show, I could go to a Lucas Oil show, I could go to whatever, a Saturday night show.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like everything was kind of equal. Then we got, we advanced and money got better. And then we got into, the tire juice and the shock behind came and the wide bore center motors came and the big lips on the front noses came. And I feel like, I don't want to say we need to back up, but we need to figure out every 5 or 6 years you'll hear somebody say, man, if we'd have just outlawed that when it first came.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'd be in a better spot. Now I don't know how you take wide bore center motors back. Motor prices went from 28 to 30 grand to 45 to 50 grand.
Yeah.
There's only so many guys. You used to drive through town, see a race car, and everybody's service station, backyard, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully, if they keep these tracks like you're saying, they don't farm them up, they keep them slick. Maybe some of this the tire deal, not siping and grooving and doing some things, will limit some power on doing stuff. We've heard some guys say, "Man, I don't know all that, and I can go and be competitive now." So maybe there's a way they're getting there.
And I agree with you on that. The Midwest has had that the WRS top tire rule for years and years. A hard tire only. I'm almost a little bit on the opposite side of that. I almost think you should make guys run too soft of tires because it makes you search every inch of the racetrack out.
Yeah.
That's an interesting.
You can't if you're on that hard tire, as soon as the lane gets clean, that's going to be the quickest lane.
Mm-hmm.
Where if you keep them on, like, say, left sides that are really too soft, you make them chase all the way down to the bottom, and you make them chase all the way to the wall because the tires will give up.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's I'm blown away by that suggestion. I think it's a great idea. Now we just need to get somebody to listen.
I'm saying,
and Lucas does it. Lucas has experimented with this a little bit. We used to go to Magnolia, Mississippi, and you would run 3 hard tires there in the feature, and it would be a really, really good race for most of the race would be good. Well, then they put us on 1 hard and 3 softs, basically, and I think the racing actually got better. Florence, Kentucky, another example. We used to always run, 340s there in the race.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you run 3 1350s and a right rear 40. it makes you use every inch of the racetrack that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Eldora just did. We're
Yep.
talking about Eldora's tire.
Yep.
We had to run them 320s.
Yep.
Well, they were too soft,
Mm-hmm.
but it made us use every inch of the racetrack.
I can tell you this. I know in my mod, everywhere I go, I just run the softest and take care of them. And I look at tires are a consumable item. It's like changing oil. I'll get rid of them and get more. So
Yeah, that's the way it's gonna. That's the way it's gonna be. And I see in the future one day we're getting our tires at the racetrack. I don't want to say NASCAR.
Agreed.
I hope
Agreed. My goodness, Steve, we could go on forever about this, but we appreciate you being on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you guys. See you.
All right. See ya.
We need to have
I
him
know.
on longer.
If we could just
For
devote
sure.
shows to guys like him.
If you put him and Mark Richards and there's groups of guys that are their heart's into it. They want to see the sport really good, and they have great ideas and they pay attention to a lot of stuff. So
It's true. You mentioned Mark, and he was talking about the tire rule, and there was someone we had on right before him, too.
Bob Pierce.
Yeah, there was just, these guys have been around for so long. They've seen the industry change, and obviously
it'd
they
be cool
know
to
what
get
they're
a
talking about.
get a
So
Slingin Dirt roundtable.
there you
and have
go.
a
We
little
get all
hour
the.
show. It'd have to be a day show.
Do you think we could sit down some of the sanction
What's
leaders
funny
as
is
we
before we gotta get out of here. But anyways, everybody has their own ideas. At the end of the day, we all do love racing, and we want to see it stick around. So that's the main thing. Again, if you're not this weekend, Eldora Speedway, be there.
Yes, be there. We'll be there.
Yes.
Come see us. But if you're not, tweet us at Slingin Dirt. We'd love to see your pictures. But thank you so much for joining us today. You can find us later in the Media Center at mrn.com.
This has been Slingin Dirt with Ashley and David Stremme. Listen every Tuesday at 11 Eastern on mrn.com for more news, interviews, and opinion from dirt tracks all over America. Slingin Dirt is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.